Hello friends, so I am back, yay. I'm going to try to be more consistent with these videos, but TV is back and I wanted to start off talking about, of course, The Flash. So what are we, like 3 episodes in, and there are a few huge mysteries that I would like to talk about. So let's just jump right in and get started. So first thing we're going to talk about is Cicada. So what we know is, well, he's obviously the big bad, and what we know is that he's a dad. He has a daughter who is in a coma, and she's been in a coma for what seems like a really long time. He also has some kind of injury himself. We don't know why she's in a coma or what happened, but of course I have some theories. He can fly. We saw that when he shot out of there, when he killed Vibe with that lightning bolt thingy that he used to subdue Meta's powers. So because he has that, he has to be like some kind of smart genius or something, to have some kind of technology to be able to create something like that, unless he stole it from someone or something. And also we know that he's like the worst serial killer in the world, and he's never caught, and he's early in the timeline. So on to my thoughts about him. Obviously, I think that he had his daughter in some kind of meta attack that left her in a coma and left him scarred, and that's why he has some kind of personal vendetta against all these metas, and that's why he's trying to kill them. The questions that I have about him: why did he go all of a sudden from killing the villains that Barry caught to moving on to Team Flash, and all of a sudden going like, oh, I want to get Vibe, I want to kill Vibe? What's that about? Does that have something to do with Cisco's powers and that he can vibe things? So he's like, oh, if Vibe is not in the picture, then he can't like vibe me and figure out who I am and who my daughter is. Like, that's probably why. But yeah, it still seemed a little weird that he all of a sudden just jumped onto it. And like, how did he know who Vibe even is, what his powers are? Like, how did he figure that out? The other question I have is there more to him than just this like vengeance that he has to get against his daughter? Because they're making it a little obvious that he was in some sort of, got attacked by metas, because those are the only people that he's going after are metas. He's not going after anybody else. So we can only come to the conclusion that he has something against them. But is that just the thing, or is there more to it? Because I feel like if that's it, then that's just too obvious. There has to be like more to it than him just going around like, oh, I was attacked by a meta, so now I'm going to attack all the metas. Like, there has to be something more to it. Another question I really just thought of was like, where is his daughter's mother? Like, was she killed in the attack, and like she's in a coma and he's just scarred, and like now he has to go vengeance for both of them, or like what? There's just a lot of questions surrounding him, and like, yeah, there's just a lot of questions surrounding him. The next mystery is this whole thing with Caitlin and her dad that's connected to her being Killer Frost as a child. So her dad is, now we know that her dad is still alive. His death certificate was faked by Caitlin's mom. He also is a scientist, just like everyone in that family. And he wants Caitlin to find him, which is very interesting. I don't have that much to say about this, only it's like, only I do know that I'm like, who is her dad? And I tweeted the other night during the one episode where you find out that someone is watching them in Star Labs. I'm like, is it Cicada? Who knows? Probably not, but I'm gonna stick that in my back pocket and leave it there, because you never know what can happen on this show, especially. And also, there's this connection to her and being Killer Frost as a kid, and her dad was there when she saw herself as Killer Frost as a kid. I always assumed that it was like, oh, when we saw that part, I always thought like through the hiatus, I'm like, yeah, her mom probably did some kind of science experiment on her and made her into Killer Frost, and that's how she knew how to make the serum to cure her from being Killer Frost and being back to normal. But yeah, now I'm thinking where her and her mom and her dad involved? Like, did they both make her Killer Frost because they're both scientists, both doing all this crazy kind of stuff? And yeah, is it possible? I mean, obviously she was Killer Frost before the particle accelerator exploded. So how is the big question? Because on the show, everyone just thinks that the metas are created because of the particle accelerator. So if that's not true, is it possible that there are just other people around town who are metas that aren't, not because of the particle accelerator, but for some other reason, like something in their genes or whatever, and it was the particle accelerator explosion that like sparked it in their genes that made them a meta, and like that's why they're metas, and it's not really like the explosion but like something in their genes. We don't know. I don't know, and I don't read the comics, so I don't really know all about that theory, but the show doesn't follow the comics anyway, so who knows. The questions that I have about her dad: why did he fake his death? What did he do that he would have to like fake his death and like be gone and like basically dead? Like, were people after him? Like, what's going on? And why is her mother like, no, he's dead? Like, she clearly went there and was like asking all these questions. She could have basically just said, I know you faked it, but like she had no proof. She couldn't tell him that it was Cisco who vibed it. I mean, she could have, but because everyone knows their metas around. But it's like, why is her mom like, her mom had something to do with it? Why is she so insistent on everyone being like, he's dead, he's dead, he's dead? And why is her dad trying to make her find him? Like, there's something going on there. Like, he faked his own death. Was it him who had the idea of faking his own death? Was it her mom that was like, oh, you should fake your own death and I'm gonna do this, and like now you're gonna be in hiding? Is she holding him captive somewhere or something? Like, we don't know, like what's going on with that. But yeah, it makes me think, because he wants to be found, that faking his death was not his idea. And since her mother is involved, now I'm thinking that it was her idea. So that is a big question that I have. And then the last thing I'm going to talk about is Nora. I have a lot to talk about with her. So what we know about her is she says she's back in the past because she wanted to spend time with Barry because he disappeared and never came back for 25 years. But she clearly lied about that to begin with. She basically said, oh, she made a mistake and couldn't get back. But she faked not being able to go back because she didn't want to go back. She was there for months spying on them before she actually like talked to them, whether it was like when she first showed up at Barry's wedding, or like when she came to the house at the end of the season and was like, I'm your daughter. And Sherlock Wells is questioning if she's there on her own accord or if someone else was involved. Now, my thoughts on the whole thing: I'm not forgetting about all of those times that she was shady last season. Like, when she was snooping around and didn't tell them who she was and was just hanging out where they were. The people who she was nice to was obviously Barry, Cisco and Ralph when she paid for their drinks at Jitters, and then when she went to Cecile and Joe's baby shower and gave them a gift. And the people that she was shady to was Iris, but we know that she's got issues with her. But she was also shady to Wells and Caitlin when they were in Jitters, and she spilled her drinks all over them. So that's really interesting that she was shady towards a Wells, and now Sherlock is a Wells, and he's like, what are you doing here? And he's like the best detective ever, and he spent like 5 seconds with her, and he's like, I don't think you're here on your own accord. Someone else is definitely involved. And then Caitlin, still don't know why she was shady towards her, but she was Killer Frost and she did a whole lot of horrible things as her, so that's probably one of the reasons. Like, she tried to kill Barry multiple times, so whatever. Not gonna get into that, but definitely think that someone else is involved in her being there, because they wouldn't just drop that tidbit of information in there without it leading to anything. That would just frustrate everybody. But the thing I want to know is, who told her to go back in time? And why did they tell her to go back in time? Why did they tell her to go to this time in particular? Why did they tell her to stop the satellite and help Barry with that? Leading up, speaking of the satellite, if she didn't help him, like, would Barry would have just died and then she would have not been in existence, and that's why she went back and helped him, like, or what? And then my other questions that I have about her, ever since she got there, I'm like, this girl, she has powers, she has this suit, I guess, which is really just Iris's jacket, and then like leather pants and the boot, and the little mask, but she has like no training. So where is Team Flash in the future? Like, did they disband because Barry was gone and they couldn't find him and he never came back for 25 years? And it was different from when he was in the Speed Force because he was only in there for like 5 minutes? Or like, are they all dead? Like, what is the deal? And she knows about them, but is it because she spent all her time in the Flash Museum? Or is it because she actually knows them, like interacted with them in the future? Because it doesn't seem like she got any training, or that like anyone knew that she wanted to like be a speedster and save the world or whatever. So what is the deal with that? Like, why didn't they help her? Like, in the future they should know, like, she's Barry's kid, like obviously she has powers. Like, where did she get her suit from then, unless she made it herself, which she could have, because she's like super smart and has all that technology in the future. So she really could have made it herself. I have not forgotten about her writing that Speed Force language and why was she writing it. And I thought back then that she was writing it because the Enlightenment happened, and then and that was like the language that everyone spoke and wrote in, from the thinker trying to fix everyone's life and make it better, and he was like, we're gonna have a universal language or whatever. But like, is that still into play? Like, she stopped the satellite with Barry, so that all didn't happen, the Enlightenment didn't happen anymore. So did that get erased? Was that timeline changed because of it, and she doesn't know what that language is? Or is it still in play? Like, I have not forgotten about that, and I'm sitting patiently, but impatiently, waiting for them to bring that up again. And they better make it quick, because I don't have the patience to be sitting around waiting for them to come up with it like 5 episodes before the season finale. And then last funny thing is, why did she go from having long hair to short hair? Like, did the whole timeline change when she punched out that satellite, like, and everything changed? Like, there's a whole lot of timeline questions and confusion that I have with her and this show. Like, what exactly was it messy? Because they kept saying in that one episode that her being there is changing the timeline, and that's why Cicada's early. But was it really just her coming back that's making everything messed up, or is it like she punched out the satellite and now everything is changing? But if she didn't punch out the satellite and the Enlightenment happened, then like what? Or if Barry punched out by himself and he died, like what? Like, it's timeline, time travel, it's confusing, it makes no sense. Timelines and all that junk. But she's definitely shady. I have not forgotten that, and her purple face is way better than she kept saying it was in the first episode. So those are my thoughts and my questions, I think theories. What do y'all think? Tell me in the comments below. Let me know what your thoughts are. How is Kate doing in meta? Why do you think Nori is back? Who else do you think is involved? Is it like Reverse Flash? I saw an article that said it might be Reverse Flash. Is it someone that like hasn't even come into play yet? What do y'all think? And then what's up with Cicada? What do y'all think is going on with him? And why do you think he's doing what he's doing? Let me know in the comments below, and make sure that you like and you share this and you subscribe to this page. I'm telling you that I'm going to try and be more consistent. So if you get on me, then I will do it. And if you give me ideas for videos, then I will see what I can do and make those for you guys. But I will catch you later. Bye.